Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. Really quick, if you haven't seen my episode on Ashnod the Uncaring, finally, yes, we have an Ashnod. Okay, well, not Ashnod's Altar, but an actual card for Ashnod. And it's finally here, but do not get so excited that you actually leave just yet, because on this episode, this brand new commander has me saying, mine. This commander is mine. My kind of commander. No, you can't have. Okay, you can have it too, but it's a commander that I definitely am quite excited about, and it has a ton of potential. So, okay, sure, I'll share this one with you as well. So, why has this commander got me so excited? Well, let's jump into it to find out. Oh, and also, yeah, blame Eddie if I'm making mistakes on this episode, like, saying that we're going to jump into it when I wasn't ready to do so just yet. And also blame Eddie because Wizards doesn't apparently know how to schedule things and just has random spoilers coming out, even though spoiler season's supposed to start on Thursday. Anyways, now let's jump into it. So, really quick, the image that we actually got of Tawnos is a little bit blurry, so thank you MTG.design for existing, because I, of course, was able to make a custom version of the card, just, taking over all the text and, just making it look a little better. Yeah. Thank you again, MTG.design, and here we go! So, Tawnos Solemn Survivor is a 1/3 human artificer that costs 1 in a blue. He has pay 2, tap, create a token that's a copy of up to 1 target artifact token you control, mill 2 cards. And by paying 1 white, blue, black, that's right, this commander is an Esper commander, tap, sacrifice 2 artifact tokens, exile an artifact or creature card from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of the exile card, except it's an artifact instead of other types. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is a commander that has a lot of potential and can do some really exciting things. Now, it might require a little bit of setup, but in all reality, really, it's not all that difficult to set yourself up to get some artifact tokens in play and to get the right things into your graveyard as well. I mean, when it comes to artifact tokens, you literally can just start off, with, say, a single treasure or a single clue, and things can really snowball from there. And of course, obviously that includes, Thopters, any other kind of, mirror, whatever kinds of tokens, that you're going to be making artifact tokens. By being able to utilize Tawnos to make more copies of them, you then unlock that second ability, which is amazing and awesome, and by unlocking that second ability, you kind of unlock the first one. Because, obviously, once you have that great target, that incredible artifact or creature card in your graveyard that you want to, essentially exile and make a token copy of, that token is also an artifact, in case it was just a regular creature, and now you can utilize that first ability in conjunction with it to make token copies of that one. So yeah, there are some really powerful things that you can do with this commander. And again, it's just kind of interesting. I really enjoy how these two abilities kind of play off of each other. The first one, makes tokens that allow you to mill, and then, get to the second one, which allows you to, make valuable tokens that you really want to make token copies of. So I really enjoy the design of this commander. I think this Esper commander has a ton of potential, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. And if you're really excited about it too, make sure you check out the card list link in the description below, because sometimes when certain commanders come out that players are excited about, well, even before those commanders actually are, printed or, in your hands essentially, those card prices that work well with the commander tend to go up in price or can go up in price sooner rather than later. So make sure you check out that link below and consider picking up some of those cards. And now with all that said, let's jump into those cards. First up, yeah, when it comes to setting yourself up for that perfect target, again, that artifact or creature in your graveyard, of course, there are plenty of fantastic ways to do that. I mean, yes, you can just keep activating that, your commander's first ability to keep milling yourself, or, of course, there's plenty of other ways to mill yourself, even some ways to, mill half your library. That being said, I'm getting off track. Anyways, yeah, cards like Entomb and Final Parting can definitely help you out as well. Entomb is a decently expensive card, unfortunately, but a fantastic one. Search your library card, put that card in your graveyard, then shuffle your library. So yeah, for just a single mana instant speed, go get the exact card that you want to, exile with your commander and make a token copy of, which of course then you can, you make more copies of. Or Final Parting, which is a great budget card. Search life for 2 cards, one goes in your hand, one goes in your graveyard, so this can set yourself up even more so by getting the right card in your hand. That can set up, your giant play as well for your graveyard. So yeah, lots of great options, on top of, milling yourself or, just, getting specific cards in your graveyard with things like these. Now, also when it comes to setting yourself up, let's also talk about other ways to make tokens. Like cards like, Mirror Battlesphere, Thought Spy Network, and Smothering Tithe come to mind. Mirror Battlesphere has a great ETB. When it enters the battlefield, you get 4 1/1 Mirror Artifact Creature tokens. So this one can actually be a great target, from your graveyard once you're already set up too. So yeah, you can kind of flood the board with more and more tokens. Make sure you're considering ETBs like this one. We'll talk about some other fantastic ETBs here in the future. But yeah, being able to flood the board with artifact tokens can give you a lot of avenues to victory with that commander's second ability. And of course, repeatable ways to make more and more tokens throughout the game can really help you out too, like, Thought Spy Network. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, create a 1/1 colorless Opter creature token with flying, and whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deal combination to a player, draw a card. So on top of making you artifact creatures, well, this provides you some extra utility as well, but yeah, plenty of great ways to fill the board with artifact tokens that you can utilize. And of course, it doesn't have to be an artifact creature token. I talked about, I believe clues earlier. We could also, make some food. And of course, we could make some treasures with, something like Smothering Tithe, which, yeah, it is an expensive card, but obviously one that if I don't bring up, players can be like, well, what about Smothering Tithe? It makes a lot of, treasures. Yes, it does. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If they don't, you get a treasure. So yeah, 2 is a lot to pay. Can make a lot of treasures with this. And again, giving your commander a lot of fodder to utilize for its second ability. Now, in a way, you can kind of circumvent or kind of skip the process of this commander as well and just get straight to utilizing that first ability in a fantastic way, thanks to cards like Sailor's Artistry, Mirrorworks, and Fairy Artisans. Sailor's Artistry says create a token that's a copy of target artifact, and create a token that's a copy of target creature except it's an artifact just other types. Basically, again, if you've got an artifact or a creature in play that you want copies of, copy them both with this, and now your commander can make token copies of their artifact token copy versions. So essentially, you just have to get things going by getting that initial copy out there, and then you can really get things out of control with this. Or how about Mirrorworks, which has whenever another non-token artifact enters the battlefield under control, you may pay 2. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that artifact. So basically, just by paying an additional 2 whenever one of your artifacts comes into play, you get an extra copy of it, and again, since that's a token, your commander can utilize that right away. Or how about in a different way with Fairy Artisans, it says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, create a token that's a copy of that creature except it's an artifact and it's other types. Then exile other tokens created with Fairy Artisans. So this one essentially can say, okay, hey, an opponent's gonna have a creature come to play, great, I get a token copy of it. Now that token will leave play. It's gonna be exiled once, this triggers again. But before that happens, you can be like, all right, I want an extra copy of that, artifact creature token. I'm going to use my commander to make that copy, and then that token actually that I just made is going to be sticking around no matter what happens with that other token from Fairy Artisans. So yeah, again, there are some ways that you can actually kind of get around having to, go through the process of actually utilizing your commander's second ability first. And of course, when it comes to making tokens, yet another expensive card that I need to mention or also get comments. What about Annoying Procession? Yeah, yes, a very good card as well. An effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control. It creates twice that many of those tokens instead. Obviously, this impacts both of your commander's abilities. If you exile, a creature or an artifact from your graveyard and you're making token copies of it, great, you get 2 token copies of it to start right away, which of course can be incredibly impactful with ETBs. We'll talk about some of those here in a bit. But yeah, again, with your commander's first ability, pay 2 tap, create a token that's a copy of another token, you're getting 2. So this can double up your commander's efficiency, and yeah, this can get pretty gross. Speaking of gross, one artifact that, well, okay, it's already amazing just as it is with this commander in the right build, but it's absolutely brokenly incredible when you have, it in your graveyard and you actually, get a token copy of it, and then you can just make more copies of it. Panharmonicon says if an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a opponent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So again, doubling up on all of your ETBs. Just think about Mirror Battlesphere. Okay, 8 Mirror, and that's kind of like, the lower end of, what you can do with this kind of a card. But yeah, again, if you make a token copy of Panharmonicon and you keep making more copies of it, things get grosser and grosser and grosser, and have fun keeping track of all those triggers and how many times gross things happen. And speaking of triggers, okay, one adorable little trigger that I thought about as soon as I saw his commander was Quarter Monitor, which, okay, is not the most powerful thing ever, but actually, I mean, with Panharmonicon, you could probably go infinite pretty easily. Yeah, I mean, I guess just you would need a token copy of Quarter Monitor, very easy to do, obviously, again with this commander, Panharmonicon, and then any kind of, mana rock that taps for essentially 2 or more. Because Quarter Monitor says when enters the battlefield, untap target artifact or creature you control. So yeah, I mean, just getting this into play is going to untap your commander, so you can do it again. So obviously, if you just want to make a lot of token copies of this, you can, based on the amount of mana that you have with your commander, once you get that first token copy. But yeah, again, you can definitely go infinite in certain ways, with, something like Panharmonicon, or Annoyed Procession, or something like that. Regardless, of course, you're also going to want to consider other untap effects for your commander, so you can utilize your commander multiple times in a single turn, so 1,000-Year Elixir can be great in multiple ways. It says you may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste, so yeah, activate your commander's abilities right away, and also on top of that, pay 1 tap, untap target creature. So again, for this additional mana, we can utilize our commander once again, and of course, once we get ourselves set up with, an artifact token that we really want to copy, this can get things going even quicker. Next up, a card that helps out in a lot of ways, though, is Lithoform Engine, a legendary artifact. So this one is not one that we actually, want to make a token of and copy, but still, it's a really great card in this deck. Pay 2 and tap, copy target, activate a triggered ability you control, you can choose targets for the copy. That first one can be just incredible at doubling up our commander's activation. Also, we've got pay 3, tap, copy target, instant sorcery spell we control, choose targets for the copy. So yeah, we've got some big instant sorceries we can utilize in this deck as well, like Sailor's Artistry. Or how about pay 4, tap, copy target permanent spell you control. And of course, when you do that, the copy becomes a token. So yeah, if you are playing an artifact and you want to copy it for your commander, just do it that way. And when it comes to some artifacts with some other fantastic ETBs that we're going to want to look to use and abuse by, again, getting token copies of them and making, even more token copies of them, let's talk about Magister Sphinx, Spine of Ishsa, and Meteor Golem. Magister Sphinx is a brutally awesome card. When enters the battlefield, target player's life total becomes 10. So yeah, in a format like Standard, that's half their life total. In a format like Commander, they're down to 1/4 of their life total. So it's absolutely incredible. And again, yeah, that's great against one player. But yeah, if you can get a token copy of this, again, in a variety of ways that we've talked about, either with your commander's ability or again with, another card like Sailor's Artistry, great, let's drain someone else essentially, and yeah, just make even more copies of it when we need to. Or how about Spine of Ishsa? When it enters the battlefield, destroy target permanent, and when it's been engraved from the battlefield, return to its owner's hand. Meteor Golem is somewhat similar. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. So yeah, getting, token copies of these in play can definitely be very impactful. Basically just, hey, pay 2 mana, tap, get rid of whatever you want to get rid of on the board. Or, okay, Meteor Golem, just non-land, but still, most of the time you want to get rid of non-land. Moving on, how about Thought Monitor? Even a simple card like this can be incredible in a deck like this. It's got affinity for artifacts, so it's going to cost, probably 6 less to cast, with all the artifact and artifact tokens we're going to have in play. So it basically just costs a blue mana, 2/2 flyer, enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. And again, if we can get a token copy of it, just paying 2 mana to tap our commander to create a token copy of it, cool, we draw 2 for 2 mana, great. Or how about things getting even more absurd with Mycosynth Golem? It's got affinity for artifacts for, 11 mana, but yeah, again, with this kind of attack, with the amount of artifacts that we have, we can get this for very cheap. Or also, again, keep in mind, these massive creatures that have very high converted mana costs, we can get out for basically, 4 mana thanks to our commander, or I should say a token copy of them for 4 mana thanks to our commander, kind of like a reanimation effect. But yeah, once this is in play, things can get really absurd because it says artifact creature spells you play have affinity for artifacts. So yeah, again, if we've got a ton of artifact creatures in this deck, this can reduce their cost even further. And speaking of reducing cost, okay, well again, by, basically, getting this into our graveyard and reanimating it, It That Betrays, gross. It's an 11/11 Eldrazi with Annihilator 2 that costs 12. Again, though, if we are milling it into our graveyard or entombing it into our graveyard, and we get to get it out, as an artifact creature token, oh goodness, opponents, you are in trouble, especially that Annihilator 2, and on top of that, whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card on the battlefield under your control. So just think about getting a token copy of this out, and then making more, and more, and more, and gross. So yeah, this commander has a lot of potential once you're set up properly. Speaking of potential, let's think about some other kinds of artifacts that have a lot of potential with this kind of a commander. Semblance Anvil is a great one. enters the battlefield. You may exile a non-land card from your hand. Spells you cast share a card type with the exile card costs 2 less to cast. So just by getting this out in a heavily artifact-centric deck, just on its own can be great. Exile artifact from your hand. Your artifacts cost 2 less to cast. That's going to save you a ton of mana throughout the game. Can help you do some really gross things. But of course, if this is in your graveyard and you get out a token copy of it with your commander and you make another token copy of it, artifact spells cost 4 less. So good luck to your opponents when you're just playing a ton of things out of your hand essentially for free or at a giant reduced cost. Again, you can keep making more token copies of it. Next up, though, even just a simple thing like, a Gilded Lotus can be great. A mana rock that taps for a lot, taps for 3 mana of any one color. Cool. If it's in your graveyard, make a token copy of it with your commander, and then just start making more and more token copies of it to just ramp way ahead of your opponents. And of course, with that, though, I have to mention Power Stone Shard, because this finally might be the deck for Power Stone Shard. Can tap to add a colorless for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shard. So get this in your graveyard, get a token copy of it, make a lot of token copies of it, and have them all tap for an absurd amount of mana. But now, as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on Tawnos Solemn Survivor. Yeah, this is a very interesting and unique commander, one that I really like. Again, the way that the two abilities kind of play off each other. Again, the first one kind of leans into the second one, it leads to it, and the second one leads to the first one getting better. Both of these are just fantastic abilities. And yeah, again, there are ways that you really don't have to utilize that second ability if you don't want to all that much. If you don't want to depend on that, you can just, make token copies of artifacts with other ways and make those tokens very easily with that first ability. Or again, go get giant creatures or artifacts, get them into your graveyard, get them out cheaply, make more token copies of them. There's a lot of directions and a lot of exciting things that you can do with a commander like this. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this one. But yeah, if you're excited about this one as well, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below, because again, when new exciting commanders like this one are spoiled, sometimes cards that work well that tend to go up sooner rather than later. So yeah, consider picking up some of those cards. And with all that said, make sure you're on the lookout for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers. I believe, again, Brothers War spoilers are supposed to start on Thursday. But again, these spoilers came out today. So, Wizards, schedule, what is going on? And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.